the SEC is on quite a run of getting their way, and they got 14 teams, a record, into the tournament. Now, they're not even the most egregious offender when it comes to this tournament and people getting snubbed, but I want to start with them. They have 16 teams in the league. 2 of them did not make it. One of them is LSU, who is really, really wishing.
Terrible.
Really, really, really wishing that they didn't have to fire Will. Like, I don't think they wanted to fire Will Wade.
Oh, no, they didn't.
They had to because of the times. And then all the things that Will Wade did wrong are legal now. So it's like being thrown in jail for 25 years for jaywalking, and then jaywalking being made legal. Like, yeah, but we're still going to overturn. Like, you broke the law when it was a law, you know. So, LSU didn't make it, and South Carolina didn't make it. Those are the 2. And South Carolina is not going to go to the NIT because they're going to spend more time recruiting. So that's what's going on there. But Oklahoma and Texas, I don't believe deserve to get in. More Oklahoma than Texas. Oklahoma started 13-0, and they have some nice quad 1 wins in there. But then when they got into conference, they were terrible. Right. Absolutely terrible, and did not finish the season strong. If you'll remember a couple of years ago, A&M started terribly, also an SEC team, and finished really strong and didn't get in. Why didn't they get in? Because they didn't deserve to be in, because in the non-conference they were bad. I think that your entry into the tournament should reflect a balanced look into both parts of the season. And I feel that they set that precedent with A&M a couple years ago, which they should have, and then for whatever reason, because the SEC was so dominant with the 12 teams that absolutely deserved to be in, that they extended that grace to Oklahoma and Texas. And had Texas not beaten A&M the other day in the conference tournament, they wouldn't be in. And if you're going to tell me a conference tournament win after all that, it's not winning the conference tournament. They didn't win the whole thing and get in. They won a couple of games. You know, that erases enough of the season. Texas, maybe. I can get there on Texas, but I can't really get there. I can't get there on Oklahoma, and I especially can't get there on North Carolina over UNC, given the fact that North Carolina was awful against Quad 1. West Virginia has what? Yeah, 1-12 versus Quad 1. West Virginia had those wins, and then they mentioned that Tucker DeVries is out. He's been out since December. I mean, that's not a new thing.
Right.
Then, okay, so they knew Tucker DeVries is out. Duke told them that Cooper Flagg is going to play. Duke told them that. They don't have to play him now. They could say, oh, yeah, he's fine. He's fine. And which they would do because they want everybody they play, like the winner of Mississippi State and Baylor, to be like, oh, crap, Cooper Flagg's coming back. We have to prepare for Cooper Flagg. I would be more shocked if he plays this weekend because they don't need him, more or less, than if he did play. Or if he didn't. I would say right now, I mean, especially in that first game, what's the point of playing him against the 16 seed?
Right. I could easily see him sitting that first game out. I don't know if they wait long enough to hold him just for the Sweet 16. I could see him coming back for the round of 32.
Yeah.
But if Cooper Flagg plays on Friday, I would be highly surprised.
So they're just taking them at their word. But again, Tucker DeVries didn't get hurt in the conference tournament.
Right.
He didn't get hurt 2 weeks ago. He got hurt before they started conference play. He's not played one single Big 12 game, and West Virginia still made it through pretty well. They beat Iowa State. They had really good wins on the road. North Carolina had none of that. Mm-hmm. And the thing that makes it really shady, and I get it, Bubba Cunningham, you have a constituency of fans and alumni that you need to answer to. But it's almost better for you in the long run and North Carolina if you had just said, no, take us out of this equation. Like when you're talking, like he has to leave the room when they're talking about North Carolina, but he's still there. You still have to look him in the face and say like, hey, you're not getting in. I know you're North Carolina and you're basketball royalty, but let's face it. And part of this, I think, is the natural thing of like, oh, if we don't get in, then I'm in trouble because I just gave Hubert Davis this big extension in December. Like we're tied to him. Like I have to now go sell this, which he's still going to have to do regardless. Yeah. Because there's a great shot that they lose Tuesday night in the play-in game.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing. Oklahoma didn't even get put in a play-in game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, Xavier really shouldn't be there either. I think the two teams that have the biggest gripe are West Virginia and Boise State. I understand that Boise State's schedule is not as good as everybody else, but they have a great record. They've won a bunch of games. Like, at least put them in a play-in game over Xavier. Like, what are we talking about here? And I know Xavier's in a basketball conference and Boise State's not, but Boise State's about to be in the Pac-12 next year, and that name, is not going to carry the same weight, but people will think that they're better because of it.
I mean, the Mountain West Conference got 4 teams in. I mean, the Mountain West Conference is not it's not some pushover conference when it comes to college basketball. They've got some good teams, and I think Boise State was certainly deserving of being in. I'm exactly where you're at. You couldn't have said it better, and this is going to be boring podcasting. I'm sorry for everybody. I'm exactly where you're at with Texas and Oklahoma. Oklahoma, I was shocked that they would, at bare minimum, wouldn't be put in a play-in game. Texas, I'm with you. I was like, okay, because I was watching the game against Texas A&M, and when they beat Texas A&M, immediately my mind was like, well, this win is probably going to get them in, but it's silly that this is what's going to get them in because the entire resume just doesn't really stack up to really get you in. Now, if they had won the next game and gotten to the SEC tournament championship game, like made a tournament championship game appearance, then I think that definitely pushes you across the finish line. But with where Texas finished, I'm not surprised that they're in this spot that they are right now because, but Oklahoma, meanwhile, the fact that they just were kind of gifted a 9 seed. And let's be, the funny part about it is Oklahoma's going to play UConn, and UConn is having themselves a little bit of an up and down season too. Oklahoma could possibly win that game.
Yeah.
So that it's the fact that Oklahoma got in without having to be put in a play-in, I think was a little bit surprising to me.
Yeah. So look, there are several very elite SEC teams. I'll give you 3 super elites, one on the cusp. Auburn, super elite. Tennessee, super elite. Florida.
Yeah, you have to. You can't argue it. You can't argue it.
I liked it. I mean, not that I wish anybody get hurt, but when Lincoln Logan, Luftgarden, Lugenflogen, I'm not going to say his name right. I know it's disrespectful, but
yeah.
But when he got hurt last year, they were cooked because they didn't have the depth. And then they went and got, like, they got players, and they got deep, and they got good. Like, they just come at you in waves, and I mean, then, okay, then their coach is in all this hot water over a Title IX investigation that's gone away now. That's all I'm going to say about it. It's not there anymore. And so they came through that. And he's an excellent coach, and they're a really good team. And I didn't know if I could hate anyone more than I did those 2 teams with Joakim Noah that won.
Oh yeah, those are good. Yeah,
but like I feel like I might be able to hate this one even more.
Good.
Although like no one's as insufferable as Joakim Noah.
I like Joakim Noah. I do.
Yeah.
I think it was him.
You know why? Weed.
No.
That's why you like him.
I think it was him. Al Horford. Was Corey Brewer on that team too? I want to say. Yeah, I mean those are some good teams. Those are some good teams. I can't lie.
Yeah.
I noticed that you didn't mention Alabama in
Alabama's in my I think they're just not. They're good. Like they're tough out. They're tough out.
That's the thing with Alabama. Alabama wants to go out and score 85 points plus and try to beat you that way. But the thing of it is too is like they play absolutely zero defense, and you saw what happened against Florida over the weekend was just my goodness. I mean, Florida really took it to them in that game.
Yeah. So, like Georgia's good. A&M's good. Ole Miss is good. Missouri's good. Arkansas's okay.
Yeah. Boy, and it makes me think, especially when I was there, in Waco, my time, the Big 12 basketball was. I absolutely thought it was the best conference in America for a few years.
Look, I think this year was still the second best, really.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Oh yeah. Sure.
I think the Big Ten, honestly, is Michigan State and maybe Wisconsin and everybody else.
Yep.
Like there's nobody there's really no one else in that conference. Like Purdue
can
Purdue's good, but they're missing an elite. Like they're missing their elite players, which I have no doubt in my mind that they will have in a year.
Yeah,
but
sure.
This year they just don't have. They don't have Zach Edey. They don't have like some of the guys that they had that moved on to the pros. So that's a great program. But like right now, like Michigan, like they won yesterday and they're fine. Like they're still probably a year away from being scary good under Dusty May. Wisconsin can score a bunch. They're really good. But Michigan State's a team that I can see in the Final Four. They're like I was shocked. I was shocked they didn't win the tournament with their eyes closed, to be quite honest with you. But but things happen in the tournament. Like, they didn't need it. Like it's hard to go there and tell guys they were going to be a 2 seed probably no matter what.
Yeah.
No matter what, they were going to be a 2 seed.
Well, and I know that, Ohio State too is not just going to sit idly by and just stay neutral. Ohio State has had its moments with some good players in their program in the past. And Ohio State's not just going to sit around and let Michigan and Michigan State and all these teams and Purdue even too just continuously bypass them in men's college basketball. So I expect Ohio State to be a player at some point, in the near future. But yeah, you're right. And it's funny too because I hate the Big Ten basketball conference as a whole because they play such a boring brand of basketball for the most part. So Illinois was a team that was really good at the beginning of the season, and they're a team that fell apart late in the season as well. So.
I'm discounting Maryland. Maryland's also good, but
Maryland's good, yeah.
But I the top 4 or 5 teams in that league are fine, but after that, I think Oregon could be sneaky because Dana Altman's just so good in the tournament.
Yeah.
But when Amanda and I were watching that game yesterday, I was like, "Are you bored?"
Big Ten basketball is boring in my opinion.
Yeah, I was are you bored? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, this is why the only time I ever watch, I'll watch Izzo anytime. I love watching him. And then there's programs that'll come along like the last couple of years, Purdue's on, watch Purdue, those kind of things. But for the most part, I will skip the Big Ten until yesterday.
Yeah.
Historically, and the only reason is they're on directly before the selection show.
Yeah.
So I watched the SEC game, and we watched that one. Even we were out and watching it on the phone, too. And I won't tell you what I'm doing because the chat room is going to call me a sissy. But I'm going to tell you, I was getting a mani-pedi.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's mighty bold of you to admit.
Here's the thing. I'll admit it because it's wonderful.
Sure. Yeah.
You've done it, Pierre? You done
it? I was bamboozled into doing it once over a decade ago. I didn't get the mani. I said, no way. Am I doing that? But it's like I got them polished, but yeah,
I got my cuticles taken care of. It's lovely.
You do get a nice little foot rub.
Hey,
that's true. It's not bad.
The little Vietnamese lady that does it is fantastic.
Yeah.
Her name's Tina. there's a bit of a language barrier, but we get along great.
Yeah, sure.
So no, it's wonderful.
No judgment here.
Hey, you're about to get married. It's gonna happen, buddy.
Yeah,
it's gonna
I have to
there's gonna be
imagine.
things where you're gonna do it. And here's the thing: you find the right one, it'll work.
Oh,
it'll
100%.
work out. It's very lovely. It's very wonderful.
Would you allow me to derail us? I know we're up against the clock. I just want there was something on my mind that only probably interests me that I just had to get off my chest.
It probably interests me as well because we have similar thoughts.
It just the Cincinnati Bengals signed Jamar Chase and T. Higgins last night, right?
Yeah.
Okay. T. Higgins is a phenomenal wide receiver. Don't get me wrong. $30 million average for a quote-unquote wide receiver 2, knowing he could probably be a wide receiver 1 on a lot of different teams. The sack production that Trey Hendrickson has had over the last couple of years, those guys don't grow on trees. And the fact that Trey Hendrickson was not prioritized, not above Jamar Chase, but he wasn't prioritized above T. Higgins, and Cincinnati risks the possibility of possibly losing him, infuriates me to no end, because that type of sack production cannot be found just around the corner. And Trey Hendrickson is a phenomenal football player that deserves to get paid and paid very well. And the fact that the Bengals just listen, nothing to take away from T. Higgins, but T. Higgins, no disrespect, you can replace a wide receiver 2 a lot easier than you can replace a guy who comes up with 17 and a half sacks every single year. That drives me nuts, and I don't feel like there's enough conversation about that.
Yeah. You know what? We're going to go into that next week, Pierre. We're going to go into the mistakes that people make in that. Garrett was even nodding his head, and he's an LSU fan.
He's 100% correct on T. Higgins.
Yeah, he's right. Yeah. I mean, and Garrett would normally say, give Joey B what Joey B wants.
He needs that defensive help, though, man.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. Don't put it all on him, right? Okay, quick question before we go.
Yeah.
Do you want the Vikings? Is there a perverse part of you that wants the Vikings to sign Aaron Rodgers?
Yes, 100% yes. I said it on our show last week.
It's a gigantic mistake if they do.
Yeah, sure.
It's taking what is a great locker room right now. A great locker room, even though they lost Sam Darnold, who I know is part of that. It's taking a great locker room of guys that love each other, and it is bringing in the weirdest son of a bitch on planet Earth that you have it's an unknown. And here's an unknown how he's going to affect the locker room. It's unknown how they're going to perform in the field with him. Worse, he's not good. He's done. He's cooked. He's done.
As Michael Caine very, very well said in The Dark Knight, some men cannot be bought. Some men just want to watch the world burn. And that is
that's
me.
Aaron Rodgers.
That's me. That's me wanting to see Aaron Rodgers come to Minnesota. That is me. Because I'm sitting here and just watching the crash come my way, and I just want to stand back and see everybody absolutely lose their minds. It would be nonstop entertainment for me.
I cannot judge you because the night the Cowboys drafted future Hall of Famer Zach Martin, for about an hour, Smokey and I were on the phone, both pissed, even though he's not a Cowboys fan, but both a little pissed that they did not pick Johnny Manziel.
I remember.
Because, oh boy, that would have been fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't have been good, but it would have been fun.
That's what I'm here for. Whether the Vikings are good or not is of no consequence to me. I just want my job to be entertaining in the meantime.